When you put your face out there, especially being a female, I found that you get heavily judged on how you look. And I just didn't fancy it. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done being judged for what I look like, what you think I should be looking like, if you think I'm fat, if you think I'm skinny, if you think I'm too strong, if you think my accent's weird. Like, I don't want that. So I'll refuse to go back to that.
Welcome to the Speak as a Leader podcast, where you learn how to speak fearlessly on stage, on camera, or in person. I'm Nausheen, a leadership communications coach from the Fortune 500 world. And on Speak as a Leader, I talk to leaders from corporate giants like Google, IBM, and Amazon to startup founders, visionaries, TEDx speakers, and even leaders who've worked at the Pentagon. You will get to know how these leaders learned the art and science of speaking fearlessly on any stage. Let's get started. Lara Acosta is running a six-figure personal branding agency. She's also been featured on Forbes, and she's named as LinkedIn's #1 female creator. And she's only 25 and just getting started. You're catching the 4th episode of my special series on LinkedIn influencers, where I'm asking all of them one question. What is the difference between building your personal brand through writing versus speaking? Lara talks about why she's branching out into doing more and more speaking as a creator, and she shares her best advice for anyone starting out on LinkedIn today. I can't wait to share our conversation with you. Let's go. Thank you so much for joining me, Lara. It's such a pleasure to finally meet you face to face. I think this qualifies as face to face.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited. And yeah, today's been crazy. Here we are.
So, jumping right into it, Lara, you've actually built your personal brand. From what I've seen and how I've followed your journey, you've built your personal brand primarily through writing and writing on LinkedIn. But now you're also speaking. I've seen you speaking at events, at podcasts. So for you, what's the difference between building a personal brand through writing versus speaking?
I think my perspective might be quite different to like any normal LinkedIn copywriter because I actually started my journey as a creator on video on Instagram. So I was building my TikTok personal brand, but like in the fitness industry. And then I was doing the same on Instagram. So I actually started speaking. Like before writing, I was doing very, very verbal things, always speaking on Instagram stories and stuff. So I think the main difference is just how memorable you are. I think people, when they know your voice, they're more likely to connect with you because when we're speaking, we say different things than when we're writing. So let's say, for example, I like to swear sometimes, or like I'll say like slay sometimes because that's just what I do in real life, but I would never do that in writing. I would never say slang during writing. I would never you don't raise your voice, lower your tone, whatever. Like people don't get to see that on writing, and if they do, then you're an excellent copywriter and you didn't miss the job. But usually, that's I think to me that's the main difference. And when people have heard me speak, they're like, oh my god, you're like so different, or like oh my god, you're way more fun on like on voice or like video. And I'm like, oh, and yeah, I think the main difference is just like how you come across, and I think it elevates you most of the time. Like people just want to connect with like that because you're also having a conversation with someone.
That's really interesting to hear. So if I was to ask you, what does the Lara Acosta personal brand stand for? What are the words that come to mind?
Oh my god, that's such a big question to ask. I think, and I've been not asked this question, but my friends make me think about it all the time because I have a variety of personal brands. I have like 4 solid personal brands that people recognize me for in different places. As I said, I started in the fitness industry, and then I switched to LinkedIn, and then I have like another Instagram page, and then I have Twitter. And like in all of them, all my friends are like, you're completely different in all of them. Like, can you please just pick one? So I think I just like being multifaceted. I like being iconic. I like being thoughtful. I like being kind. I like being fun. And I just like being just whoever the fuck I choose to be that day. If I wanna educate, I've got LinkedIn. If I wanna like make fun of people, like make like laugh with people, I'll go on Twitter. If I wanna be like fitness and like all nutrition and health, I'll go on my Instagram. And if I just wanna have a good laugh, I'll probably just go on like on the comment section and chill with people and talk to them.
Choose your own adventure when it comes to your personal brand. That sounds very freeing. It also sounds like one of the antidotes to burnout, because creator burnout is a thing, especially when you're creating the same kind of content over and over again, because you have to. If you want to be known for something, you have to repeat the same message in different ways, but it's the same message because that's the message you want people to associate you with. But at the end of the day, you're the one who gets bored or burnt out with that. So that sounds like a really good solution to make sure that you're keeping things fresh, that you're not feeling overwhelmed.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a bit overwhelming to have such a variety of personalities to choose from, but yeah, but it works sometimes, sometimes it doesn't. I do get burnt out a little bit, but like that's on me. Like I'm like, you're the one that chose to have like LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter at the same time. So there you go. And I enjoy it to be fair, and I've made time for it.
So this is really interesting. Going from videos on Instagram to writing on LinkedIn. Was there a reason why you didn't choose to create videos on LinkedIn right off the bat?
Firstly, I just didn't think like videos belonged on LinkedIn until I met you, basically. I completely saw the platform as a writing platform 100%. And to be honest, I hate videos on LinkedIn. I'm not going to lie. I don't enjoy them, especially before, like a couple months ago, even when I joined like a year ago. Just that the whole video feature is really inconvenient. Where you're scrolling, then you have to pause it, like stop what you're doing, and then turn the audio on, then take your headphones in, like whatever you're doing. Like it's just like it's not smooth. It's got a lot of friction, and I just didn't enjoy it. And also, I just really heavily dislike the way people were using video on LinkedIn. Like they were just simply repurposing TikToks onto LinkedIn, which is not the way it should be done because LinkedIn is a completely different like culture. So I just never felt like that. And lastly, the way that I left, I stopped creating video content for a reason. It just I feel like um, I don't know how to say it in like a nice way, but when you put your face out there with whatever, especially being a female, I found that you get heavily judged on how you look and heavily judged on how you speak and heavily judged that whatever is behind you. And I just didn't fancy it. I was like, no, I'm done. I'm done being judged for my what I look like, what you think I should be looking like, if you think I'm fat, if you think I'm skinny, if you think I'm too strong, if you think my accent's weird. Like I don't want that. So I wasn't going. I just refused to go back to that. Right now, maybe in the future, I'm feeling like a little more confident in the way I do things, but I just needed that big break from video content and people judging me for what I look like.
And was it for this reason that you reduced showing images of yourself and doing more carousels and
Yeah, yeah, it's a really sad thing, and I hate to generalize women because I know men struggle with this too. But I personally think that when girls do something, it's judged 10 times harder than when a man does it. And that's my personal experience. That's what I've noticed. That's the trends that I've seen myself. So that's completely personal to me. It can't. It may be not. It may be untrue, but in what I see, it is. I remember the first like couple months on LinkedIn. I saw a lot of people posting selfies and doing X, Y, and Z, and I was doing it. It was getting a really good engagement. Like photos always push it, but I was getting the wrong type of attention. I was getting a lot of thirsty men on my DMs. I was getting a lot of judgment for what I looked like. Again, I was getting a lot of judgment on like what I was wearing. If it was like appropriate, it looked like Instagram. This should be on Tinder. And again, I'm doing it to protect my energy. Like I have no time to be worrying about what other people think about me. I just want to perform well. I want to educate. I want to do something for my audience. I want to give value. So how do I do it? I reduce the amount of images of myself, unless it's completely necessary to the story, and then go from there. The only times I use photos of myself is when I'm storytelling, and it makes sense to add a photo. But if I'm explaining something like in marketing, I wouldn't, because it's not correlated to the post. So when storytelling, I use it to aid it. But overall, I had to stop. It was just very uncomfortable.
It's not a fight that we all need to fight. That's the thing. It's a drain on your energy. And that's just how people react. There's no need to battle that. You just avoid that, and it makes sense for your own peace of mind. This gets me so upset because if you want to share a picture of yourself, you should be able to go ahead and share a picture of yourself without thinking of how people are going to comment on it and say, it's not professional, or what are you wearing, or you look tired, you look old, you look too young, you look like you don't belong on LinkedIn. How can anyone tell you you don't belong on a platform? Last I checked, it was free to sign up. It's it's mind-boggling. It really, really riles me up. And it's your own choice whether you want to use pictures or not. But if you really want to use your picture, if you want to show people your face, you are your own personal brand. If you choose to show your images, you shouldn't have to think about backlash. That's crazy that you have to think of how are people going to perceive me when you're posting a picture of yourself and not hurting anyone. So, switching gears, I would love to know more about what's made you go out and speak in person at events. What is the strategy behind that?
I have no strategy. I love talking. I've always loved talking. I was taking elocution lessons a couple years ago. I stopped obviously, but I just love it. It's always been a thing of mine where I'd always wanted to be a speaker since I was younger. My dad always told me you're destined for like the stage, because my dad's also like a speaker style person. He's always speaking, and my whole family is like that. So it's always that I've always wanted to do, and finally, I think I'm in a position of authority where, if I say something, it comes across well. It comes across as like I have experience to back it up, and I think I'm finally comfortable in my journey, not just as an entrepreneur, and also as a 25-year-old girl, to speak about certain things that I've accomplished and I've gone through, give my 2 cents with experience and stuff. So that's mainly why. But I've always loved it.
I love that. You don't really hear that too often, that not only are you comfortable with speaking, but you come from a family of people who are comfortable with speaking. It's very different from the vast majority of people. When they think about speaking, especially live at an event, they feel very scared. They feel very much like they're not going to be in control. So that's probably one of the big reasons why I'm doing this video series and asking these questions, because a lot of people think that writing is the quote unquote easy way, and speaking to create your personal brand is the much harder way, because that's when you feel more vulnerable. So do you feel like you're more in control when you're creating a LinkedIn post or a carousel where you don't need to speak versus when you're doing an event or doing a podcast?
You know what? No, I much rather speak. I spend so much time editing my posts and my carousels take me like 5 hours to make. I'm always the person that at university, because I'm still at uni. I'm the one that's always speaking. Everybody does the work, and I'm like, I'll do the speaking because no one likes to speak in public for some reason. I love it. I eat it up. I'm like, please just give me the thing. I read it in 5 minutes, and I'm like, I'm here to present, and everyone's like, so I think I should maybe start doing videos.
You absolutely should. I think LinkedIn will blow up with your videos. They would love to see your community, would love to hear from you. Because I don't know if you've ever done a lot of video content. I don't think they've really seen you speak.
No, they've not really. They've only seen me speak during the live events with Jasmine, and I put a loom on one of my comment sections of me explaining how to do something, and people did enjoy that. I understand the power of video. I just didn't. I wanted to build my audience first and test it out, and then feel comfortable with the idea of explaining this complex topics on video camera and giving my audience the best because I just honestly just want a high quality experience for everyone that follows me. I just don't want to do something and do it like I feel like it's not good enough or I just did it, which I know is the best way to start, just doing it. But I don't know. I don't know. I just care so much for my audience on LinkedIn that I wanted to do my best first and then go on to the second thing, which is, I think it makes sense.
I love that. Making sure that you're always delivering that high quality is probably what your community has come to expect from you in the first place. So, right now, you're saying that you're not really speaking with any kind of a strategy in mind, but do you think that you're going to shape it into a strategy going forward?
Of course, yeah, I'll be on everybody's feed with the videos as soon as possible. Just need to, you know, I just need you to give me the final push, I guess, and how this is going. I think this is it.
Consider yourself pushed and nudged. Would there be a difference if you create video content versus a carousel that you're making? Do you think it would be similar content, just in spoken form? Or do you think the videos might be more personal stories or something completely different?
I was thinking, I really love this creator. Her name is Grace Beverly. She is a business owner now. She used to be a fitness influencer, and I grew up watching a lot of her vlogs. She was doing university and she was building a business at the same time, while is going to the gym and doing all the 20-year-old type of things. So I was thinking more of like a vlog style video, like building public sort of style, but also I'm at university and this is my hectic life. And I think that would resonate more with the type of people that follow me because I'm completely like people follow me because they think I'm like their bigger sister. The way a lot of people describe me on their comment on my comment section is like she's like my bigger sister. She talks to me like we're friends. I feel like we're best friends. I know I can always come to her, or like she's always like giving so much value every day. So I want to be like that because that's just generally how I am. I'm like very nurturing. I'm very caring. And maybe I'll do a lot of educational videos, but I would love to do more like vlog style videos and just taking people through a journey. Because I think I would have loved watching that when I was starting my agency and seeing someone to relate to. Like some days you're not going to eat anything because you're so stressed and your hair is falling out. Some days you feel like you're over the moon and like you have so much time to relax and there's money coming in, and then the next day everything's about to crash and you're going to die. So I want that. I want that on video. On text, no one can really feel the emotions of how stressed you are at some point, and then when you're crying in your bed like at 3 a.m. in the morning because a client didn't pay their invoice in time, or you think they're going to fire you, and you're just overthinking, but actually they're fine and they actually love you. And the next day you're going to receive an email that you're going to be like, oh my God, I actually love what you're doing. And then you spend the whole evening crying for no reason.
I love this combo of wholesomeness, boldness, and this fierce, raw honesty and transparency that you have. I love that about your brand. Something that you mentioned is that when you're in front of a camera and you're speaking in front of someone, something that you mentioned is that sense of immediacy, that sense of showing people yourself and your voice, and how video is very powerful for that. Is that something that you really want to also infuse your writing with?
Yes, this is a very good question. Um, I have two types of content. I have the storytelling type of content and the educational type of content. So in the storytelling one, I try to infuse it as much as I can, but it's not 100%, because what I've seen a lot is like there's this really thin line between oversharing and being personal online. And sometimes we tend to want to overshare in order to convey emotion, but that's not the right way. So it's a very thin line, and I'm still learning how to navigate it. So I'd rather keep a lot of things inside, like small details that could create some sort of emotion, um, because sometimes it's just not necessary, especially for the platform. People don't need to know that I was crying at 3 a.m. in the morning because a client didn't reply to my email at 11 p.m. at night. Like, they don't really need to know that. And if they do, it can be read wrong. Like, it's just me saying it right now to you. You understand how I'm saying it. Like, I'm sort of being sarcastic. I'm sort of kind of joking, but I'm not. Whereas on text, someone can like perceive that the whatever way they want because they can't understand my tone of voice. So to answer the question, I think I'm as personal as it's going to get. I elevate that slightly in the comment section. I'm a lot more fun on there. I make jokes. I'm like sarcastic as hell. I swear all that. But that I think that's about it. Like, I can't do any more. I can't be any more personal without like going through that line.
I love the thinking that you've put into it. And it's absolutely how I encourage clients to think about their persona when they're speaking on video as well. You don't need to share every single thing about your life. You don't need to be overly sharing or uncomfortable with what you're saying. You just need to create your personal brand in an intentional way so that people recognize you for what you want to be recognized for. People do really enjoy emotion because they want to see you as human, but they also get turned off because they don't want you airing your dirty laundry in public. They don't want you to be melodramatic because that makes them uncomfortable. So it's really just about asking yourself the question before you share a personal story. What do I want people to feel? Do I want them to think of me as a victim? Or do I want them to think of me as, oh, this hero, praise me? Or do you want to just share your story?
It's so hard. It is incredibly hard. It is incredibly hard, but you just have to. I think I've learned this lesson through testing stuff and seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, rereading the post a million times to see how differently I feel. Maybe when I write it 2 hours later and then the day after. Because when you're writing it, you feel the emotions and you feel extremely like tied to that piece of work. Then like an hour later, you're like, actually, that's a bit too much. And then the next day, you're like, I absolutely hate that. Like, I would actually never say that in real life because writing is completely different to speaking. Like, I wouldn't write the way I speak. I wouldn't speak the way I write.
Love that intentionality. And that's a very strong, different statement from a lot of the advice that you hear, because you heard this advice, you should write the way that you speak. I generally don't advise people to speak the way that they write because they very often write in a very formal, structured way, using the kind of vocabulary that you just wouldn't use colloquially. So I do ask them to speak the way that they would speak, not speak the way that they would write. But I do like this idea of reading out your LinkedIn posts, for example, to give yourself that litmus test of, are you coming across as conversational or buttoned up and stiff and formal?
That's so interesting. Yeah, you reminded me. Yeah, I used to say that a lot, and I still sort of say it because when you're trying to get someone to write and they're overthinking it so much, you're like, just write what you think, or like, just write what you speak. So it's write how you speak or write how you think, whatever feels more comfortable is fine because it gets the ball rolling for someone. Some like people don't understand that advice. It's like in different levels, and people at this level might not agree with this because they already know that this didn't work, so they already tested it out. But someone that's just starting, I think it's good to just tell them, just start, just do this, and just talk like write like you speak, because that's just going to get them going. But I think now I kind of disagree with that, but I still write slightly how I would speak because my tone of voice is very informal still. It's very casual and it's very loving. It comes across as like, again, nurturing and just caring. So there's slight hints of how I speak, but if you heard me speak in real life, you wouldn't be like, oh, you like that's Lara. Like, no, no.
So I wouldn't recognize you if I hear you speak in real life. That is so cool.
Yeah.
You're a real chameleon.
There are many
I love
personalities.
that you're so honest and unabashed about this because Everyone I talk to says the exact opposite. They say, this is me. What you see is what you get. Doesn't matter if you see me in real life or online, or you read my posts or you speak to me. I'm always the same person. I'm authentic. They attach that authenticity to that. But I agree with you. I absolutely feel like we have different personas in life, different roles that we play very naturally, and we are going to be different. Sometimes with very subtle differences, but sometimes with really big differences as well. And that's okay, because you're tapping into one incarnation of your personal brand.
Incarnate. I love that. Yeah, authenticity is it's people obsess about it quite a lot on LinkedIn, and I guess everywhere on social media. People just want to be authentic, real, and I'm just like, get over it. Nothing's original. You can't be authentic 100% all the time. You just be yourself. If you sound like this in real life and then you're writing something else on LinkedIn, like it's fine. I understand, and I think people would that know me understand that on LinkedIn I'm doing what I need to do to grow on LinkedIn, to get more clients, to educate my audience, to make people make like I say often to my audience, I'm teaching things that my younger self would have enjoyed learning about. So I'm doing that for her, and people like her. So I can't be like, oh yeah, girl, like just do this, this, and that, and then slay the day and enjoy this, and then be a girl boss. Like, no, I can't do that because I, when I was younger, I was looking for very technical advice that didn't have any fluff, and I was straight to the point. I could read in 5 minutes, and then I was out, and I could apply it. And then in real life, I'll be like, yes, we'll just do this, this, and that, and then hair flip, girl boss, like whatever it is, because I'm just like that. I make jokes. I'm sarcastic. I'm very white girl, mainstream, like that, because that's just my personality outside LinkedIn. And I think the ability of someone to be able to change personalities depending on the environment is such a skill, and I'm so glad I was able to develop it at such a young age because I moved very young. I learned how to be a chameleon and adapt to the situation. And that's how I think I've been able to grow so quickly on Instagram, on LinkedIn, or in general as a person, because I can adapt to the situation and be like, okay, this is how we're speaking here. That's what I need to do to appeal to this type of people and grow. And then on Instagram, it's like, this is what I need to do, this is how I need to speak, and this is what I'm gonna do. But I'm adapting, but I'm not losing myself. Like, I'm still the same person in whatever platform you see me in. It's just the tone of voice is different, the way I speak is different, but I'm still the same person.
It's a superpower to be able to
I'm quite a bit passionate about that. Sorry.
I love that. I totally identify, because that's how I've always felt as well, a chameleon. And I've always been very proud of it. It also helps me be very diplomatic in a lot of situations. And I can see during my coaching that a lot of people struggle with this, because people think that they're more one-dimensional than they actually are. We have multitudes within us, and we have to do justice to all those multitudes. And I love that you said that we don't have to be 100% original. That is so freeing. It really lifts the pressure off of you. So I can see how your younger self would really appreciate that advice.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Thank you. Thank me for her. Thank you. Thank myself. Don't know. Whatever.
Thank you so much, Lara. It was such a great conversation. I really loved chatting with you.
Likewise, I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Hey, you're still here. Thanks for listening all the way till the end. I'm super grateful for your support. If you liked the episode, please take a few seconds to give us 5 stars on the platform that you're listening on. It would mean the world to me, and it will help more people discover Speak as a Leader. To know more about how I help leaders speak fearlessly, just go to nausheen.com. That's N for Nausheen and Sheen like Martin and Charlie. See you in the next episode. Till then, speak fearlessly.